Whoa, that's bright. So over the past couple of hours I've been applying several coats of this clear lacquer to it. The first couple of coats went on a little bit sort of blobby, but with each successive coat the finish has gotten more and more consistent. So this lacquer's been drying for a few days now. It's looking pretty good. The finish is pretty consistent. There is a bit of a blemish up here from an earlier finish I tried, but that'll be covered up by the truss rod cover, so it's not too much of a problem. I'm going to buff this up before I put the machine heads on, but I'm not going to sand it back because the tin itself has got like a kind of a mottled finish as well, so I think that the texture of the spray paint matches it quite well. But that's basically it now. I can put it together. I'm not 1000% sure how necessary this is, seeing as the whole thing is encased within a metal tin anyway, but I'm going to shield this cavity here. So that'll go in the bottom there. Cool, and then I'll just put like a stripe around the whole thing, I think. So that'll make contact with the tin. The tin will be earthed all the way around, anyway. Once I put the bridge on, then it's sealed. There's no more taking it apart. Unless you take the bridge back off, obviously. I mean, if you had the strings on and then slacken them off and then undid the screws on here, you could lift it off. Although that would be a bit of a pain to do. But before I go doing anything that's going to take a long time to undo, I'm going to make sure the electronics still work. So there we go. The tin itself has become a bit of the pickup. If I get the multimeter out. Okay, so the earth, the tin lid is earthed, so we should be good. But that's working as expected, so we're okay for now. So let's get this bridge on. That's it. the guitar is built. So, whoops, obviously the nut there. But yeah, that's it. It's a little bit like one of those Vox guitars that Brian Jones had, isn't it? But there it is, it's built. So I think what I'll do now is bung a pack of strings on and then let it kind of chill out for a while, because obviously it will have had tension put on it for the first time in ages. Well, that's had no setup done, but it's got strings on it, so let's see. I think the nut looks really, really tall. Obviously, I've never even seen this neck in any kind of action, so I don't know, I don't know what it was like before, but that nut looks really high. I can tell right just from looking at it, so that's going to need doing. In terms of this bridge though, and as long as the electronics work and everything like that, then I don't need to worry about taking this back off. So let's... Yep, I need to sort the action out on there. but it works though, so I'm confident in this bridge being okay. It was worked out based on the geometry of the neck, so I shouldn't have to move it, but if I do, there's enough wiggle room that I can obscure the old screw holes, but hopefully I don't have to do that. Hopefully I don't have to do that. But what I do have to do is raise the action, because this is dead flat at the moment. The neck has got a radius, obviously, but this is absolutely flat straight across. So that's why these middle two strings are choking out, because they're lower relative to the other string. So I'm just gonna... The top E string seems okay. That's like 2mm at the 12, and that's about where I want it. And that string probably could go down ever so slightly. But, I mean, before I do that, I will make sure it's not... I think that's too small. No, it's not. I think that's the right one. Just going to make sure there isn't any... Okay, so there's no choking out on this E string, so I can go down a little bit if I want with that one. Lower the action just a smidge. I think I was probably at the limit. This needs to come back quite far. There's that as well. But how high are these two? See, these are only like 1mm off the fretboard. So I'm going to slacken them down. I'm going to slacken down the two middle ones. So I can raise them up. These saddles are going to come up quite far, so that the grub screws are actually disappearing down into the holes. You know, there's still plenty of thread left for them to rest in, but because the grub screws are now longer poking out the top, you won't scratch your hand on them when you're palm muting, which is a real problem with these. You want them level still. And then see, how's that? That's just below 2mm, so let's see what the still a tiny bit there, so I'm going to come up just another tweak. You know, barely a turn. How high is that now? Just below 2mm. Now the B string's looking a bit... So now I'm just going to raise the B string and the A string so they're kind of split the difference between the two E's. And that should give me my radius. Yep. Because the strings are all basically, with the thin strings, the top of the string is just underneath the 2mm line on the ruler. And with the bass strings, they like cross through the marking. So now, so no fret buzz on the E. The B was the worst, the G string was the worst before. Now there isn't any. Still a bit on the D up here. They seem okay. I'm going to bring the D up just a smidge more. Because obviously it's fatter than the G string, so it kind of flaps further. That's better. How's the nut looking? There might be scope to bring a little bit off the bottom of the nut, so that's why I haven't glued that down just yet. I'm going to get a proper guitar tuner and then have a go at actually intonating this. Let's actually do some intonation. So this should be way sharp, and it is, so that's good. So that means the bridge is in about the right place. Not bad. Tiny adjustment and then that's weird. It's like I tightened it more and it went sharper rather than flatter. Well, ideally, you know, I want to go all the way so that I go flat. So if I can go flat and sharp in both directions, it means the bridge is in the right position. There you go. I'm getting closer, and I've got loads of space left. So you know, I'm definitely going to get there. Getting closer all the time. Let's get to bed to roll time. I think I'm going to crank it back. I think what I normally do with these is sort of crank it back like really far until you go over it. And at least you sort of, you know that it's somewhere in between where you've been. There you go, and that was almost bang on just by doing that. So another quarter turn. To my ear, it sounds really close. Bang on, look at that. Right, so that's pretty good on the E string. How far off are we with the A? Pretty much bang on already. I think I want to bring it up a bit though. That should make it flat again. Yeah, sharp rather. There is a little bit of equilibrium as well. Like as you get one in, the others, you know, like changing the tension of all of this does affect the other strings. So you sort of go through, get them all. See, the A is sharp now. The fact that they're all sharp is good news, because it means I've got plenty of room to come back and make them not sharp. Whereas if they were all flat, then I wouldn't have quite enough room to go that way, which would have meant the bridge is too far back. But because they're all sharp, it means that I've got it in an appropriate position. With these bridges, there is quite a lot of travel in these saddles, so if you get it a couple of mil out, you're probably safe. I mean, typically when setting up guitars, I've found that the top string is closest to the ideal point of intonation, and the rest are further away. That seems to be the general sort of rule of thumb. That sounds close enough to my ear. I'm going to take that for the moment. It's not perfect yet, largely due to the nut. But in terms of how it sounds, I think it sounds nice. You've got the full like tone control there. Obviously the volume. And it sound, I think, even though there's a small amp, it does sound alright. You excuse the fact that it's sort of still out of tune though. So what I think I'm going to do is take a photo of this and post it to the customer and let him know that it's finished, but it just needs to be finished off, if that makes sense. Then I'm going to let it sit for a little while and get used to having strings on, because the neck might want to pull up. I'm fine with my fret level. You know, I haven't noticed any buzzing to do with high frets. The action looks pretty good. I've got the radius in there now. That's not too bad. Obviously, if I change the nut slots, that's going to affect it a little bit anyway. But it, you know, they follow the arc of the radius now. So yeah, happy with how that's come together. Definitely. Hopefully the customer likes it. Right, so this badge came in the kit. You know, it's one of those pin badges with a little clasp on the back. What I'm going to do is drill a little hole in the headstock somewhere and glue it on. I'm thinking somewhere in the middle there. I mean, or maybe it should go there. Because I don't want to put it that way round. That's weird. I probably ought to have done it with the before I put the strings on. But you know, that ship has sailed. So I think just using those marks, knowing that it's the center, I think I'm just going to sort of eyeball it, really. I think I'm going to put it here. Once I make this indentation, that's it. So I'm drilling into my beautiful headstock. Oh God. So I've got some super glue on this bit of cloth and kind of smush it in there. And it's not really working as well as I'd hoped. Okay, this wasn't down far enough. I can't get underneath it. That's what's annoying. Ah, right, success. Got a little blemish there, but obviously it's going to be covering it up. Such a shame to be doing this to my lovely paint job that took me such a long time to perfect. I'll just drill a hole in the front of it. Drilt. Is that a word? Drilt. Okay, so looks pretty centered, looks pretty straight. It's certainly centered enough by eye. Not gonna lie, that was quite nerve-wracking. So there's your headstock logo. Looks pretty cool, I think. Just throwing it out of tune. Still not quite there on the setup yet, but it'll get there. Well, that's basically it finished now. I've been sort of tweaking the setup over the last couple of weeks, you know, adjusting it, letting it settle, and then adjusting it again. Got it to the point where it's pretty well intonated now. Yeah, pretty pleased with it. I think it looks quite cool. The badge on the headstock's quite nice. I think the black hardware looks nice on it. And yeah, happy to call that done. So I'll have a quick go on it, show you what it sounds like. It's pretty simple controls, just volume and tone. So fairly self-explanatory. And then you could roll off some of the high end to get a warmer sound. So that's it for this. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Let me know what you reckon in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Cheers!